want a Chippy Tea. Chippy Tea, Chippy Tea. I want a Chippy Tea. Oh, you keep giving me posh nosh, you don't agree with me. I don't want lobster thermidor with raspberry Kool-Aid. It's Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy Tea.
I'm right outside of Ludlow Racetrack.
Ludlow Racetrack. So that's for dogs, isn't it? Not like cars.
Osses.
Osses.
For os.
Bloody osses. Little sea biscuit.
Sea biscuit, yeah. That fucking Right. What episode is it, Danielle?
38.
I was confident.
Oh, off at Dome as well, you know that. I didn't even check.
Yeah, you might be right.
100%.
Yeah, you're right. Right, okay, let's go. You ready?
Let's do this. I'm
Have
ready.
shit to talk about, what?
Maybe. That's the fun of a podcast, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Like Russian roulette.
It's fucking running across the road playing chicken that way every
We are, yeah.
Right, so here we go then. Welcome to episode 38 of the Chippy Tea podcast. What is the Chippy Tea podcast? I hear you asking in your millions. The Chippy Tea podcast is your chance, your opportunity to catch up on a video call. You can catch up, you can listen in, you can watch us, you can be involved in the weekly video call that occurs between two screen printers from the north of England. So it's your chance to interact with me, Tony P from Palm Print, and
Danny D from Flippin' Sweet Print Co. Whoa, nice t-shirt. I like
Flippin' Sweet Print Co. So, yeah, this is your chance to catch up with us as we have a bit of a look back, a bit of a chat about what we've been doing this week, where we've been, what we've been doing, what we've been struggling with, what we found fantastic, what we found has pushed us to the limit and the edge of what we really want to do. And we just have a bit of a catch-up generally about screen print, but there's absolutely no guarantee. And we also usually do it over a beer. And this week's beer from me is
Neck oil.
Beavertown Neck Oil.
Does it taste like soap?
No, it doesn't taste like soap. It's nice. It's actually a good one. I got introduced to this from some guys up at
Newcastle?
Express. Yeah, Newcastle. How do you know?
Because of
Is
the
that where it's
breweries.
from?
The brewery is from Wylam, I think.
Oh.
Wylam. I only know this because I've got Geordie mates and they're constantly going on about it.
Yeah, well,
Wylam Brewery.
I was with...
Might be wrong.
I was up there, so Paul Hodge at Wetware Express, and Michael Clark. He also got me into this. He's a proper connoisseur of Beavertown stuff, and it's a good call. So tell me, Danielle, what have you been playing with this week, and what are you drinking?
Oh, what I say? Don't you know what I'm drinking? I'm having a classic Cherryade. It's alcoholic, but it's 4%.
Is that an alcoholic Cherryade?
Yeah.
Is that like
nice.
MD20? Is it like MD 2020 they used to drink in Park?
If that's the same as WKD, yeah. I'm assuming it's the same
go back
thing.
further. MD Mad Dog 2020.
Right,
It got so
maybe.
bad they had to start selling it in fucking plastic bottles because everybody used to smash it in the park.
Oh, God. Well, speaking of glass,
MD 2020.
I had my very first sip. I'm looking on bottle and I can't see any damage. Well, a piece of glass in my mouth. And I can't see no damage anywhere. So it's, if I die, it would tasty at least. Probably, yeah.
Worth it.
What have I been doing? Well,
So what have you been doing this week? Come on, it's been a long week because we're running a little bit late this week. So what have you been playing with all week? What's been driving you insane? And what's made you go, take it home, show your mum, and tell her what you've been doing all day?
it's been a mixed bag.
Okay.
Been playing with totes, haven't I? Mixed bag, see that?
Oh, right, okay. It's good you re-explain that.
Yeah, I've just been doing loads of tote bags. Just pure, utter coincidence.
Tote bags?
Yeah.
Tote bags?
Yeah, just promotional, cheap tote bags. I tend to try to push people away from the I think like the tote bag that everybody uses, it's about £1, Westford Mills. I tend to push people just past that slightly. Like the Continental do one, which is about 50p more. It's just a little
They're
bit
measured
better.
in grams, aren't they? So the weight of the weight of the bag is measured in grams. And I'd go to a lot of bag printers, cotton shopper bag printers, and the quid thing. These are buying these for 10, 15.
Yeah.
Because they're buying them in
pallet
millions,
loads.
and they're see-through, and they're a giveaway. They're an absolute promotional item. I'm stuck on bag printers. Bag printers are a bit of a strange breed. If you're a bag printer, right, you're very good, you're high quality, and I've got a company in Sheffield, the highest quality ever, all water-based, superb, fast, efficient, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
If I gave them a T-shirt to do,
Yeah.
they'd struggle. Despite them being very talented and very gifted and very professional in the stuff that they do for like the British Museum, and it's all artwork, it's all really good. If I give them a T-shirt, they're a bit like, what the fuck do we do with this? Don't know how to print it. What do we do?
Yeah. I don't enjoy printing them, so I can totally relate to that. I think the opposite way, I'm pretty all right with printing T-shirts, but when it comes to tote bags, I just don't enjoy it. I'm probably not right good at it. I got the job done, obviously.
Not on the next line. If I give a tote bag to a T-shirt printer, they don't fucking like them either.
No.
They don't like these bags. They don't know how to handle them. They don't know how to load them fast. They don't know how to cope with all the bits of shit that's on them. They don't know how to push the ink all the way through, or not pushing it all the way through. I've had some really, really, really cheap bags. The customer bought them as a bulk lot, thinking they'd save money. In actual fact, I had to put a clear base down first.
Yeah, just because it would nitty.
The ink was bright, but I had to put clear, like soft hand base or finesse. Just print that first. That blocked all the holes. Then flash it and then drop the colours on top. Because if not, there was more hole than bag.
Yeah. And then you get it in pallet. You get it on your pallets as well. You get build up on.
And then it
pallets.
gets on the little handles, the little where they sew the handle onto the top of the bag.
Yeah. I mean,
Or
luckily,
if you're up where you are, handle. Down here it's a handle, but up where you are it's an handle.
I don't know what an H is. I used to know somebody. I used to know somebody who couldn't pronounce his F's, his H's, and his R's. Couldn't say fucking fairer than that then. You can have that, Tony. I'll let you have that one.
Help me, please. Wow. Couldn't say fairer than that. That's like it's been queuing up at the back of your mind for ages.
I have actually had that for about 3 episodes. I've just been waiting for that moment. Waiting for you to pull me up on it again.
Well done. You got me there.
So, tote bags.
So have you found it? Have
chatty.
you been doing plastisol or water based? Because this is the big divide now.
Plastisol. Oh no, sorry, I lied. I did do some water based because they were very specific. So some of them were plastisol. Some of them were very specifically water eco conscious. So on those occasions, I will dive back into the old Aquaflex, get me pigments back out. So it was a mixed bag. Hey,
do you charge more?
No, exactly the same. It was a mixed bag.
Mixed bag. Is that you again with another bag?
Keep using it, don't I?
I'll let you carry that one off.
I'll tell you what I won't. Do you know what? To be honest, there's actually... Are you off it yet, Tony? Come on. I've actually had an email, though, today, actually, funnily enough, for somebody who wants a 6-colour tote bag. And I'll be honest, I might just pass that one off. Like, outsource that one. I don't think I can be bothered with 6 colours. Like 2 or 3, I can stomach, but anything
How many
more than
pieces?
that, it'll only be short, maybe 50, 100. It won't be more.
God, wow.
That's my bread and butter, though. 50 to 100, it's like, that's where I make my money, to be honest.
6 colour.
6 colour, I get paid more for 6 colours, so... If it were 6 colour shirts, I'd be laughing, because it's just sort of my everyday routine. But tote bags, it's a different palette. I haven't actually got 6 tote bag pallets either. So if I were doing a 6 colour tote bag, it'd be one at a time. So actually, no, I am definitely going to pass that one off. I've just realised. I'm happy with that one. So yeah, I'll tell you
A
what.
lot of people make their own pallets from MDF with bags.
I used to do.
Because it's not quite as critical.
No, well, when I used to have a workhorse, the bracket that holds your pallet, it was just 4 screws. So I could do that. But now the Anatol and M&Rs, they share the same quick release, like just 4 little catches or whatever. So I don't think you can DIY.
There's nothing fucking quick about them, and there's nothing fucking efficient about them. I've been working on M&Rs all week.
You're not a fan?
No, I hate them. I hate them with a passion. I think whoever designed 4 handles that point out like that on a shirt, underneath a shirt, that you can put a shirt on and it catches on every time, whoever designed the fact that all the pallets are going to be the same, so you can just quick release. No, you can't. You still need a 1/2-inch spanner. Not a 13mm, mind, a 1/2-inch spanner.
What, to adjust it?
Yeah, because to get underneath it and tighten it. Because if you don't tighten it that tight, they wobble. And when they wobble, you lose your registration.
I ain't had any bother. The bolts, so those little weird tassel things, all the time I can see the wood come loose because it's held on by a nut underneath.
Yeah, and so
I can see that coming loose. In fact, I think a couple of mine have. So maybe I can see what you mean.
And you won't change your pallets that often with being a manual, but on an automatic, 3,000 pieces a day, different jobs, changing every time. It's just a pain in the ass. Especially if you've got tri-lock, you're taking one off, putting one on, taking one off, putting one on, taking one off.
Yeah. So I've been thinking about that as well. That's something I might have to have a pallet. I'm in 2 minds. I'll probably just make some sort of acrylic attachment. But the other option is to have a pallet that comes on and off, which is your registration pallet.
That's what everybody does.
Yeah.
I've been playing with tri-lock. I played with tri-lock this week, and it's blown me a little bit. I've not got any good results.
There was a joke there, but I'm not going to go there.
I know, yeah. You know my opinion on tri-lock. Anything that uses the outside of the frame, it's not a constant, so therefore we're going to get a little bit of variability. This one I couldn't get to work at all. I got 100% success rate. Right, I got 1 out of 1. The next job I didn't work. We weren't that far off, so we're going to go for, okay, we'll go for 50-50. I'll bring myself back on this next 3rd job. No, didn't fit again. So I thought, right, okay, so I went and investigated some stuff. And what I found was something I've never seen before. What?
Bloody hell.
So tri-lock is 2 in the corner and 1 at the top.
Yeah.
So we've got definite space in here. This is no good for Spotify, is it? But we've got 2 at the bottom, 1 at the top.
2 pistons.
All on one side.
Or 3 pistons.
All on one side. And those 3 on the imaging unit, Spider, CTS, whatever you want to call it, they marry up perfectly to the pallet. And everything's all good in the world.
Yeah.
So basically, those 3 points have to be in exactly the same place on the pallet that you use to register and the Spider that you use to image.
Yeah.
They can't be different. They have to be in the exact same place. And the drum on the Spider is adjustable, so you can put them where you want.
All right.
Well, this place where I've been, there were 4 instead of 3. It was a quad lock rather than a tri-lock.
I'm not sure I've seen that. Is that M&R as well?
I've never seen it. Well, no, because the Spider is made by Exile. So it's not made by an M&R or an Anatol or an MHM, but you buy your attachments to fit it.
Oh,
so
right, I
if you've got
see.
an MHM, you buy little attachments with 2 pins on. 4 pins. If you buy a Rock or an Anatol, you get it with a tri-lock, with the 3 bars on.
Yeah.
This had got 4 on. Now, I'm going to admit, it took me 3 days to notice. I just never thought, because I'd looked at the tri-lock and it was, I'd looked at the pins and I did clean the pins, make sure they were all good.
Yeah.
Going everything well, and it were only like on the 3rd day. There's 4. And what's the chances of those 4 being in the same position as the 3 out on the shop floor? Well, 0. Because I've got this extra block throwing everything off that way.
Oh, so it's free on shop
It's
four.
Four on the imaging unit, the CTS.
So are they a bit of a Frankenstein job? Have they just bought some bits of kit and like chucked it together and made it work? Or not made it work, I guess.
I don't know. So I did try and do some digging, and nobody wants to admit to, oh yeah, we did that.
Got it off eBay.
Yeah, so the people who fit the machine was like, well, it's down to the customer if he's got we don't know if he's got Trilock or an Anatol or he's got a Rock or he's got an MHM. It's down to the customer. And the customer's like, well, we just did what the people who installed the Spider told us to do. Nobody wants to take responsibility for it. No. So I was like, okay, now I understand why it's never coming out in the same place, because you're imaging everything in the same place according to 4 points, 2 on this side and 2 on the bottom. But then you're putting it in the press according to 3, 1 in this corner and 1 on the top right.
Yeah.
So although the 2 systems do hold the screen in the same way, they do only for themselves. So all the screens will be in the same place, but they won't be in the same place that they were imaged. Yeah.
You see, the 4-pin idea, to me, it makes a little bit of sense, but it's no good if you've got different options. Like 4 pins to me, this may be really basic thinking, but 4 pins suggests that it's 1 in each corner and it pushes it into the centre. So you're always getting your screen bang into the centre, rather than a Trilock that pushes it into the corner.
So they were all along the left and all along the bottom.
Oh, so it's not right. So I've got that wrong.
So it's not one.
So it's still a Trilock. It's just
I've got 2 at the bottom and 2 on the right hand vertical.
Oh.
So I put my screen in, push it into the corner like I would a Trilock, and image it. And it just, when I spotted it on the 3rd day, I thought, oh, awesome! Now I know where it is. So I've had the blocks removed and I've put them back on in the same place as the Trilock, as they should be. I even had to ring a guy, Odge, up at Wear Express.
Yeah.
I said, just do me a favour, send me a picture of your Trilock system.
Yeah.
Because I'm not concerned now. Is it 3 or is it 4? Am I going crazy? So he sent me a picture and I could see it were exactly 3. So set it up, changed it, did a 2-colour job, which is just white flash white, and a 6-colour job. And thought, well, we'll test those. And I marked the screen so I knew to test them. And I threw the 6-colour job in, and I went through the whole routine. Don't look through the mesh, don't look through the mesh. Just throw it in, clamp it in and go. Throw it in, clamp it in and go.
Yeah.
It looked shit. It was horrible. Yeah. It was miles off. So I have to try and rectify that on what is my last day here tomorrow, to try and find a solution to that and find out with CTS, with pre-reg, not with CTS, with pre-reg, it can fail in 3 places. Artwork, imaging unit, and press.
Yeah.
They're the 3 places that have to be all singing from the same hymn sheet, dancing to the same tune, doing the same thing. And if one of them's different, then it just doesn't marry up. And I've got a few ways of checking. So I can check the artwork by printing 6 files onto 1 screen.
Right.
If I do that, I can see the image building in colours.
Oh, yeah, you can see if it aligns.
And if they all line up and register, then I know that the artwork is good.
Yep.
I can take the screens that I've printed, develop them and everything, then put them back on the Spider with some clear tape on and print them again.
And see if it lines up again.
If it doesn't, it's a good chance it's the operator not pushing them into the Trilock properly.
Right, see.
So if I image a screen, develop it, and then bring it back to the Spider and put it back into the Trilock, it should be in the same place.
Yeah.
So if I image over the top of it with some clear sellotape on it so it doesn't spit through the holes,
yeah,
I'll have a look and see whether that's in exactly the same place. So that's another way of checking whether it's the operator. And then the press. There's a couple of ways to do the press. And one, it's very complicated with like an M&R because you've got to take the pallet off. But what I'd do is I'd take the pallet off put the screen in.
Yeah.
I'd then take a print on the next good pallet. I'd then take the screen out, put it into the next head, and take a print on top of that print.
Right. And see if it's lining up there.
In theory, the same screen frame should go into the press in the same place every time.
So I'm assuming on an M&R, an MHM, a Rock, there's a zero. You can zero each print head. And this is what you're saying? No.
Only on the MHM. You can zero on the MHM, you can't on the others. You can get sort of central, but it's all about where you put. So you'd have to leave.
Surely there's
leave the registration palette on. Leave your registration palette on.
Oh yeah, so you have like
move it to one side. Yeah, it just slots in, and where you put that registration palette is your zero.
What if it's just something really stupid like a creep? Call it creep, don't they? All right, you chuck it into your thing. You press your.
I call you creep, but don't call me. So we have a discussion, a chat group, don't we? And one of the guys on there, two of the guys on there have said they found much better results with Tri-Lock if they lock the back clamp first.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
So the back clamp pushes it into the Tri-Lock.
Yeah.
So that makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense.
Well, yeah, because if you do it for front...
together, clamp the back, and the back pushes it into...
Yeah, pulling it tight. Yeah.
Yeah. So I tried that method.
Didn't work.
Then of course it's the artwork. I've been caught out 2 times on trying to find this problem. The first time was labels. So labels on the artwork, when it tells you what colour and
yeah. So it's like it's an uneven surface.
If they're auto generated, they change the size of the page.
Oh, right, no, I'm thinking of something else. I thought you meant like stickers and stuff on frame.
No, if you've got 2 lines of information, sort of like date, page number, film number, Pantone number, where it's stored, if you print all that information automatically from the RIP, then it builds it on the side of the page.
Yeah.
So 1 line of information will stick itself at the top of the page. 2 lines will actually bump the artwork down a couple of pixels to make room for itself.
Ah.
And because the exiles, the spider is counting from this corner, it actually moves the artwork down. Now, that took me about 6 months to find.
Yeah, that's a crafty one, that, isn't it? You'd never think of it. Like for me, obviously I ain't got direct to screen, so I input that data manually when I'm doing my separations, or John does it for me. But so I guess on the spider, it sort of takes that input and does it? It generates it for you.
It does it the step before the spider in the RIP.
All right, in the RIP. Sorry.
So from Illustrator, we print from Illustrator. It goes to the RIP. The RIP creates the digital films, the TIFFs.
Yeah.
And they get output to the spider. So it's at that point there in the RIP where you tick a little box and say, "Create me labels for me."
Yeah. Right.
And it does. But you send a piece of A4 paper to it, artboard, and it doesn't know where to put the label. So it sticks them above the A4 page.
Mm-hmm.
So now your overall page size is A4 plus 1 little line of text.
Here's a question. Are they using registration marks? Because this kind of ties into another conversation where they were talking about who puts the information on the screens, like we've just been saying, whether it's auto-generated or manually. But also, it also ties into registration marks. So are they using registration marks?
No, they've gone completely because
completely got rid of everything. Yeah.
So we don't need them when we're doing CTS because we don't need to line the films up to anything. The computer does it. And their information bar, instead of being at the top where it could possibly leak, is down the side, just on the edge of the squeegee.
Right.
So it all runs down that side.
Oh, that's clever.
It's just one long piece of tape down in the same direction as the squeegee.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't rip up and pick up. So that's quite clever. That I quite like.
Never thought of that. That is a good idea.
And they made it quite big. So that you could read it.
Yeah,
rather
but
than make it so fucking tiny at the top. So if you're scared of it leaking, you make it really tiny and you put it at the top, then you can't read it. So they made it big and it runs down the side of the palette.
Clever.
So if it does leak, you don't see it.
And it won't touch your shirts, would it?
No, it's off the palette.
Street smarts, I like it.
Street smart. You're going to take that, aren't you? You're going to take that and run with it, aren't you?
That'll be the next tip. Hey, we're doing all right then.
You know, just as you put that tip out, I'm stood outside rubbing a squeegee against a brick wall.
No way. What are the chances? Somebody actually commented on it.
Hillbilly.
Said, yeah, well, somebody commented and said that's how they did it.
Yeah.
I didn't call it hillbilly. I was politically correct about it, but... yeah. So, whereabouts in the country are you, assuming you are in the country?
I am in England. I'm in Ludlow.
Ludlow, that sounds posh. Is it posh?
Ludlow in Shropshire. So it's below Birmingham, and it's on the edge of where England meets Wales, sort of. I'm about an hour that way from Sarah Head.
Oh, literally just about to say.
And an hour that way from Dave Roper at Kidderminster.
Oh, literally just about to say, yeah.
Yeah.
And Alex will be in middle somewhere.
So Alex is South Wales at Bridge. Jeez, I've forgotten. But he's further south.
He's proper,
I've been to his place.
Proper Welsh.
He's proper Welsh. Yeah,
I tell you what, I really enjoy Alex's stories. I don't know if you've been watching, but he built.
He's built his mezzanine above, hasn't he?
I loved that. Honestly, I was glued to it. I would just wait for him to post something every night. It was fantastic.
So when you've physically been in somewhere, so I know how small that place is.
Yeah.
He was really squashed when he got that auto reclaim. I'm like, where the fuck are you going to put that? And he got an auto developer as well. I'm like, where's it going? You've run out of space. And he'd got a space above office, and I always took piss out of him because he built the space above the office.
Yeah.
And he used it for, I think he used it for art and office space for doing his separations. Never got around to putting any stairs there.
How do you think it up ladder?
He went up on a ladder, yeah. And his sister used to work there. He used to force his sister up and down this bloody scale.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like that all the time.
I didn't know Alex used to work with his sister. I work with my sister. I say I work with my sister. Once she fucking decides to turn up, I do anyway.
She attends, doesn't she? Or she stopped attending now.
I think I actually work for her, to be fair. It's the other way around these days.
There is RJ. RJ needs a cameo. We need RJ back on.
I've been in ages, hasn't she? She'll pop by at one point. It's because we're doing evenings now, aren't we? So she is out that door. 4 o'clock, she's gone.
4
on the dot.
4, she's done.
Yeah, because she's got to get back to make kids' tea, so she won't do till 5. Hey dear. So that is basically.
I'm in Ludlow. Yeah.
The
So
problem
Ludlow is. I'm right at the side of the race course. It's a race course, racing town.
What's racing?
Horse racing.
Racing horses.
Horses. Sea biscuit, as you say.
Biscuit. I piss like a racehorse.
As often as, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's not a reminder for you to go for a wee.
It's coming.
Oh,
no, we're all right for now. We'll give it 10 minutes. We're good.
Give it 5 minutes.
I'm going to go get another beer in a minute. So,
this is a place I came to. This is me scary one. So we mentioned this last week. I made a bold claim, now 40% claim at this one. And I'm not sure I'm going to hit it.
Going to do it for free, then, eh?
No, and this has been... No, that wasn't the claim. Shush. We're playing for pride. We're not playing for real money. We're playing for pride.
You'll read that fine print.
So, I think if we look back to before my first visit, yeah, I'd hit the 40%. And we took the measurement in maybe a month's time, maybe 6 weeks' time. Yeah, I'm confident. In this week, no, it's too big a thing to change. This is a very, very old-fashioned approach to printing. And I say old-fashioned, and you've seen the screen.
Got some gear.
I've done your little video of the screen room. That's fantastic, and that's the first place that they've looked to invest some money in, and they've done everything correctly.
Hey, well,
that is a dream. That is a dream setup. It really is. Auto reclaim in one room. The developer, the spider, 3 separate drying cabinets, which people always skimp on.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything's they can make a drying cabinet out of the granddad's old fucking wardrobe and a Glen fan eater.
Yeah.
Stop it.
What? Mate, remember what I said? I didn't actually use this phrase, but put your money into your screen room first. Make that your priority. That was my
This
theory.
is exactly what this company has done.
Yeah.
The issue now is, okay, we can pretty much forget about the screen room now. It's it works on its own.
Yeah.
It takes no sort of input from anybody. It's been relatively de-skilled. Still some skill in there, but it's been relatively de-skilled. And it's pretty much autonomous. And I asked the question of the guys that own the place, why did you spend your money there first? Why didn't you spend your money on the presses and then work your way backwards?
Yeah.
It's strange that you made the decision here, the screen room specifically, and you didn't just buy an upgraded power washer or a new washout booth. You went the whole hog. You
went all in. Yeah.
Created a space, planned the space, made the investment of everything you could possibly do. And the answer was relatively simple from the boss's son. He used to have to clean the screens.
I mean, you can see where I'm coming from now.
Yeah. So the answer was, my Saturdays and Sundays were spent stood in polythene clothes with ear defenders, eye protection, and a lance in my hand, knee deep in shitty chemicals from 8 o'clock in the morning Saturday to 6 o'clock in the night Saturday. And if I didn't do that, there wasn't enough prepared for the week. So it wasn't an option. I had to do it.
Yeah.
And it's the shittiest job. So the only way to get away from him and his brother and his dad staying on an evening from 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock every evening, staying on a weekend and working Saturdays and Sundays cleaning screens, the only way to get away from that was to automate it. And it paid for itself in they dropped one member of staff out of that department. So they already had 2 staff in there, and now they've gone down to 1.
That paid itself in a couple of years then, won't it?
So it's going to pay for itself. Nowadays. I did want to get our mate Bryce involved.
All right.
We changed the chemicals while I was there in the Zentner. Same unit he's got, exactly the same 3-chamber Zentner. And then I worked out the cost of changing the chemicals.
Right. And what did you come to?
$270 per chamber. So my $250 per chamber was a good generous. Guess. It's $270 per chamber to pump out the chemical and put new in.
So what we've learnt is you're better off owning a screen print shop in the United States because it's way cheaper, apparently.
No. So there are 2 methods of approach to a 3-chamber. Am I going off on a tangent? I'm sure we had a plan, but anyway, I'm going to do it.
I'm enjoying it. It's all right.
There are 2 definite methods for auto reclaim units, especially when we come to a 3-chamber unit. So the 5-chamber unit is the over 100 grand, massive 9-metre space, big investment. This is a 3-chamber unit. There's everything from Impro, Lotus Holland, Zentner, Easyway, Blue Water Labs. They're all around a 3-chamber system.
Yeah.
And the 3 chambers are: first chamber, take the ink off; second chamber, take the emulsion off; third chamber, high pressure wash.
Yeah. That's
the basis of them all.
Right.
So chamber 1 and chamber 2 don't like each other. Drunk cousins at a wedding, they want to fight. They want to equal each other out. So we have to keep them separate. And that's what we've been trying to do over 10 years that these machines have been out. And then lately the advice has been, forget trying to keep them separate. Put them together.
What? Just let it top it up.
Put them together. So there are some chemicals from Alchemy.
Yeah.
Used to be called CPS, McDermott Auto.
Yeah, they did, didn't they? Yeah.
These chemicals have a ink washer and a stencil washer. You can put them together to make an all-in-one.
And we'll get on.
So it doesn't matter about keeping them separate. They work together. So it's like a dip tank. You know an all-in-one dip tank?
Yeah, well, this is... Do you find that it reduces the efficiency of both jobs? This is what I'm finding with the dip tank. Or this is my synopsis.
Possibly. Remember we had a discussion, should you have 2 dip tanks, one to get the ink off, one to get the stencil off, with
this is my
in between.
This is my
I'd love to see.
conspiracy.
I'd love to see you make that work. I'd love to see you make that work.
I've looked
if
again.
that works, I'd put that into an auto machine.
Yeah, well, I've looked to see if it would be realistic to buy ink stripper, purely emulsion stripper, purely ink stripper, 2 completely separate chemicals, 2 separate dip tanks. I think it'd be very expensive. Like, I've not found
that. That is what Bryce does. So Bryce at Workshops has 2
in
chambers.
each chamber.
His first chamber takes off the ink. It's just an ink wash. I think it's an ink wash that you can put with water, same as the Aqua Wash 829 that we're using over here. And then the second chamber is pure stencil remover. This is how he got his chamber to be so cheap.
Right.
Stencil remover concentrate.
Yeah, it's like 50 to 1 or something.
16 quid's worth of concentrate, and the rest is water. So it works out. It takes 110 litres to fill these chambers up. Don't know what that is in gallons, but it's roughly 4 to 1. So of that 110 litres, you would only have to buy a 20th, so whatever the maths is for that, of pure stencil remover concentrate.
Yeah, you top it up with water.
Put it in, top it with water. The other one, the first one, that's your ink washer, your ink degrader.
Yeah.
So that one you put in there, and that one it doesn't have any. You can buy the ones that you can add water to make them go a little bit further, but every time you add water, they make them weaker.
Yeah.
Or you can use them neat from the tub. But either way, you never replace that. He's not taking that out and throwing that away. He's taking the second chamber out and throwing it away every Monday morning.
The diluted one that's cheap enough to top up.
The diluted one that's cheap as chips. So because we do it the other way and we add stencil remover and water to the Aqua Wash, to the solvent, basically, to make an all-in-one solution, the price of that solution goes up tremendously. So 110 litres of that solution was £270, which is about $320, $330. So there's no way I can justify throwing that away every Monday morning.
No, of course not.
No way. No way in the world. So I'd have to go back to the system that Bryce uses, which is 1 chemical in one chemical in the other. And don't worry about the cross-contamination, because it's coming this way. It's coming from ink degrader, and it's killing the cheapest chemical. Yeah, so therefore,
exactly. It's contaminating the cheap one, chemical, which you're going to top up every week, so it doesn't matter.
So this now is the dilemma.
Oh, that's smart. That's got me thinking. Is that?
It has, hasn't it? Yeah. It
so
does.
You know what?
It does work a little bit.
It might be mutually beneficial if we put a little research into 2 chemicals. I'm not a chemical person. I don't know, but I know if I go on any of the suppliers and I want to refill that dip tank with the all-in-one solution, it's probably going to cost me like 300 quid. I would like to find a chemical that I can put in for stripping the emulsion that does nothing else, strips that emulsion, and then a chemical that softens, strips ink. 2 completely separate chemicals that can be topped up for a reasonable price. And like you say, I guess if you go from ink stripping, you're going to rinse it off anyway, but then into another dip tank for stripping the emulsion. If there are any contaminations, because the emulsion's dilutable, like 50 to 1 usually, something like that, or 50 to 10 or something.
20 to 25 to 1 normally.
Yeah. It doesn't matter so much. But it would be beneficial because
that's what Bryce is doing. Bryce is throwing away the cheaper one.
Yeah, but it would be beneficial for us both to find this information, find these 2 chemicals, because it might just work in a Zentner as well. It might work in 2 dip tanks. It also might work in a Zentner.
It does work because it's working for Bryce.
Well, yeah.
Now, obviously, he's got a different brand of chemicals over there. He's using, I think, Easy Way. He said he was using.
Yeah, well, we can get Easy Way.
Yeah.
Assuming it's the same one.
Okay, so we'll fast forward to Alex at Supreme Screen. Hi, Alex, if you are listening. Sorry we're talking about it.
I doubt it.
Yeah, it's not one of the 4.
It's not one of
Three,
the
'cause
chosen
one's my mum. One's my mum, and one's your mum, so there's down to two. So, Alex, again, I'm at this place, and I rang him up. So, okay, what are you using, Alex? And he's using exactly the same as we're using here.
Right.
The two chemicals that work well together, with one with water and one dilutable.
Yeah.
And he's getting good results. So I'm like, what are you doing differently? So then we come to the hot topic, the hot potato of degreasing.
Well, actually, I nearly asked this question, but I thought you thought I won't stop you. You said it comes out. You said it comes out at car wash ready, but you didn't mention degreasing at the end.
Ready to coat. And I also warn anybody who's going to buy one of these units that if the salesman uses that frame ready to coat, you are legally obliged to smash him in the nose with a squeegee. I've read the small prints aloud. Because it's very, very difficult to get one ready that comes out in those machines ready to coat. So we changed the chemicals. It took 2 people 4 hours. It was hard work. We didn't have a pump, so it was very hard manual.
It was like...
Yeah, it was like getting petty for your
Hey,
motorbike, yeah.
Here's a tangent. I used to have a mate who used to go around siphoning people's petrol out of the Land Rovers and cars and stuff like that. He'd sniff it to get high, and then he'd go sell it to drug dealers or... Well, no, he wouldn't sell it to drug dealers. He'd sell it to kids with mopeds and scooters and stuff, and then he'd go buy drugs. Nice lad, actually.
That's what I call a circular economy. Everybody's
clever. It's entrepreneurial.
Everybody's serviced. It's a circular economy.
He had a lazy eye, actually. I don't know why.
Because he sniffed petty.
He was a nice kid, though, to be fair. Anyway, yeah, dip tank chemicals.
I can't bring you back from that one.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so dip tank chemicals. So the holy grail of buying this whole unit was put them in dirty at one end, bring them out ready to coat at the other. And the machine does that. But you've heard me say this before. It only does it for the first month. When the chemicals start to degrade, then it starts to... You're putting them through twice, you're putting them through 3 times, and you're getting...
Yeah.
While I was there, we had a horrendous case of fish eyes. So this is what created the whole what's wrong here. Because I think we're 3 months into the machine, it's worked fine for 2.5 months, and now all of a sudden we're getting splashes, chemical residue, drips. Yeah. And my first thought was, well, how are you degreasing them? We're not. You're not degreasing. Well, you should be degreasing. Well, no, because we don't want another process. The whole idea of the machine is put a dirty screen in this end.
That's kind of a selling point.
This end, dry it and coat it. It's done. And the chemical companies are all full of, our chemical doesn't need an additional degreaser. Our chemical's strong, it doesn't need a degreaser. And I'm dubious of that. And so I did bell Alex and say, look, what do you do? Do you bring them out ready to coat? Because you're using almost the same emulsion, same chemicals, same machine. So what do you do? So I do all that, and then I haze them with Easy Solve 541 or something.
Something like that.
Yeah. Easy Way 501. 541. 451? I don't know, some number. A haze remover that's not quite as horrendous as sodium hydrochloride.
That shit destroyed my screens, you know.
It's
415. 415.
415. 415N. Isn't it?
Yeah. So that the old, whatever you just said, the super harsh, straight up
sodium hydrochloride Pregan paste.
That was it. Pregan paste.
Called Pregan paste. Yeah.
So I tried it. I think I used an emulsions coater, coated my mesh, left it on overnight.
Overnight, yeah.
Yeah, but do you know what?
And you activate it then with another solvent after.
Yeah,
2-part.
Which I did. But what happened is it dripped onto aluminium frame and it made a right mess at frames. It almost like I thought it were going to. I mean, I got back next morning and thought, I'm surprised it's not melted them. It looks like it had been. through a
It's
fire.
like sodium hydrochloride. It's the worst thing ever, and it's horrible. It's caused lots of burns in the industry.
Yeah.
And I've said this to you before. I would rather have a dirty screen than risk the health of my staff.
Yeah.
And just cut the mesh out. But there are better chemicals around now. The chemicals are getting better. They're getting safer. But we've said this before. Every time they take something out and make it more safe, it becomes less effective.
It does, yeah. Yeah. So it is,
So
everything.
the most effective is this stuff that you could use to unclog drains.
Do you know what, though?
And
it didn't work
I have
that well.
used it to unclog drains. I have unclogged drains with it.
You have?
I have, yeah. Yeah, I was in a factory where there was a lot of rice goes down the drain and it had clogged, and we tried everything to try and clear it. It was stuck in a pipe somewhere, and so I poured some of this pre-reg paste down there. So just come back in a couple of hours, we'll be fine. I think if I left it any longer, it'd have burnt through.
Would have said there were no pipes left.
But let's go over that.
Yeah. You know what, as well, the worst part about it was, apart from destroying a shitload of aluminium frames, I mean, it didn't destroy the structure, but it took all the shine off it, which is annoying. I like the shiny frame. It didn't do a right good job of removing stain either. So I ended up using...
No, it's not the best.
I can't remember what it's called now. I'll tell you what it's called. A few people recommended this one. See if I can find it.
Was it Easy Way?
No, it was cleaning and
I
reclamation.
wanted to try your magic eraser trick, but I couldn't find any magic erasers.
You couldn't find them on Amazon and shitloads.
I want to look in supermarkets, to buy there and then rather than...
You usually get them at places like B&M and Poundland and stuff like that. Last flipping one, probably. LSR30, which is a CCI product. LSR30.
Okay.
A few people recommended that, and actually it is really good for getting haze and ghost images out of your mesh.
Stubborn stains.
But
This place is using a diazo emulsion as well, so we're getting diazo stains on the mesh as well. It's been interesting. I spent quite a bit of time in the screen room, which wasn't planned. But you know my theory about the 2-on-1 coat?
Yeah.
Which is creating the lip and the gasket on the shirt.
You have to feel it.
And I know it works, and it works fantastically well. And this place didn't have it at all. So I introduced a 2-on-1 coat on the auto coater, so everything's the same. And we got some beautiful stencils. Their go-to mesh is a 49. Don't see many 49s.
It's a knob number, isn't it?
I think you've said 49 before.
Yeah, but that's probably because I was just getting confused. You know me. 42, 43, 46, 49, one of them.
So 43 and 55, they're the sort of bog standard ones.
Yeah.
It used to be a 48, but that's going back 25 years. And this company have specified 49s. So our good mate Chris Hale down at Screen Machine, he's pulling out the 49s for them. And they are superbly made. This is the place. I don't know if I told you the story. I keep going off on tangents on this one. This is the place where I asked them to test their squeegee tensions, because when I was there, I thought... screen tensions, because when I was there, I thought they were low. And there's something like 70% of all the screens that had failed. And so... I ain't got a show and tell. I'm going to have a show and tell for you then. Because I bought myself a new screen tension meter.
Tensionometer. You're not keen on it, are you? Or was that something else?
No, I am now.
You are? Fan of it now?
Yeah, and that will between me and you, but it's okay.
Never mind.
I was at a place last week and every screen failed.
Yeah.
Every single screen in the entire building. Old screens, new screens, brand spanking just delivered screens, all failed.
I've had some shocking screens before.
All below 15.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. New, still taped up into a 5, got delivered. I checked them with my fancy new tensionometer that I got from Dave Roper at Screen Print World. Used my discount code for 10% off.
You'll have to use the title.
No.
Cut.
So So I got it, and this is the first time I've used it, and I've used it across every screen in this entire building, and they're all below 15, without exception. Old 90s, new 90s, everything. Old screens, new screens, brand spanking delivered screens. So there's either two things wrong here. Either all the screens, all 250 screens are shit, or my meter's broken. It's like, it hurts when I point here, and it hurts when I point here, and it hurts when I point here. What's wrong? Your finger's broken.
I mean, I've got a broke finger. Can you see? It's like, anyway. Sorry, carry on. I've had a really painful finger, and it's like not going away. And I was doing deadlifts, and I bounced the bar, and it bounced back up and smacked me in the hand. And it sort of clicks now, and I feel like I might have broke it. But anyway, yeah, sorry.
Oh dear.
So your tensionometer.
So my brand spanking new digital tensionometer, I kept quiet about because I thought, oh shit, it's a bit crap. It could be broken.
Can you use them wrong?
No, because you calibrate them to a high and you calibrate them to a low. So everything was done. It was all sound, but I'd not got any good results at all, everything below 15. So then I got a friend. I got a friend of ours to come down and bring a tensionometer, bring an analog one. This is a digital one. Bring an analog one. And he was the guy who supplied the screens. So it was in his interest to check them. And he said, yeah, I'll come down. We'll come down and check it with ours. And then we'll see whether it's the screens or whether it's your meter. Definite way to find out with another meter. So the guy turned up, forgot to bring his meter.
Oh, Dave, you big wally.
So you forgot to bring your meter. Okay, so what are we going to do? Well, can't you tell by just touching? Well, yeah, but I don't know.
Just sold me a 600 quid
okay.
meter.
Yeah, no, it wasn't Dave.
No,
it wasn't him. It was somebody else.
All right.
It was the guy who made the screens. The screens I thought were below par. So he says, look, let me put them in the back of the car. I'll take them back to the place and we'll test them. And, we've been friends for a long time.
Well, did we not just
no problem?
Did we not just fail the finger test, the thumb test?
It was difficult, Danny, because they weren't slack as a bag of knackers.
Yeah,
They were just sort of like, is that
a bit of bounce?
And every screen I tested felt the same. And I thought they were all right-ish.
Yeah.
And I put them on the meter and they come at 14.9. Like, that's not really all right. That's a bit
No.
low. So I got this guy to come and test with me, and he didn't bring a meter. He said, look, I'm going to put them in the car, take them back to our place, we'll test them on the meter, hand on heart. I trust these people.
Yeah.
No end.
Yeah.
And he says, hand on heart, I'll tell you what we get.
Yeah.
And if I said, well, I've got no problem. If it's this meter, just bring them straight back. Don't cut them and restretch them.
No,
Just bring
no,
them
no.
straight back if it's
Yeah.
this meter. And I'll happily admit that I've made the error. And about 2 hours later, rang me up. He says, no, Tony, they're all low.
All right.
Your meter's right. So, well, hats off to this company for admitting
Being
it.
good enough, yeah.
Nobody's perfect. There's a batch of screens come through, and they're not quite up to standard. But hats off to them. They fixed the problem straight away. So I'm not running them down for delivering low tension screens. In fact, I'm bulling them up for solving the problem with absolutely no quibble whatsoever.
Sometimes it's how somebody fixes a problem, isn't it? Sometimes it's how they react to.
Yeah, so it fixed the problem, and the screens came back gorgeous. And then when I've come to this place now, it's 3 days later, I brought my little trusty tension meter, and lo and behold, these are all reading at 22s, 24s, 26s.
That's better.
And just when I was reading them, my phone rang, and it was Chris Hale at Screen Machine. I went, are you psychic?
Your ear's burning.
I'm just looking at one of your screens now. He went, and Adam, it's fucking awesome. So one of them read 31. So I'm like, well, this is superb, absolutely spot on screens. I need to run all the emulsion, the glue around the outside as well.
Well,
to get rid of the tape.
I'm going to go for a wheat, but I'm going to bring one for a show and tell.
Right, well, you go for that, and I'll go get my show and tell.
All right, 2 seconds.
You can press pause if you want.
I'll just grab done as well. I've never seen that before. I'm guessing you don't need I guess you don't need to open it with a finger. Just like,
Oh yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
oh,
Seen it on cheap beer.
hey, I've never seen that before. Like a little plastic thing.
Yeah. I had to go to the car, and I was still back before you'd been for a wee. Cheers.
Cheers.
Right, so I want to go first because I'm like that.
Go on.
Here's my little secret squirrel attaché case
Oh, aye. Secret squirrel.
and secret squirrel, and we get
Very James Bond, isn't it?
isn't it
There she is. Ah, so you've got a digital one.
digital?
That's cool.
Yeah,
And you're happy it's totally accurate now?
yeah, because it comes with glass calibration.
Right.
You do the glass calibration. It should read close to either 49.7 or 50.
So
Somewhere between
glass is
those.
obviously the highest tension it can possibly be.
Glass is perfectly smooth,
That makes sense.
so that's how we calibrate it.
So I guess when you place it on a material, if there's any flex or bow, that's how it
Yeah, so
decides.
you've got a solid point there,
Yeah.
a solid point there,
And,
and
it
this
pushes the
needle
pin.
that goes up and down.
That makes sense.
So as that goes up and down,
Yeah.
that changes this tension here.
Oh, wow.
So that's the bend that you get on the material.
I'm going to have to get one, you know.
So you set your upper point.
Yeah.
The lower point is when it's at 0.
0. And that's how you it's calibrated.
For me, I think this is a fantastic little tool. So
Here's
big
my
shout
discount
out
code.
to Dave Roper at Screen Print World. If you use my discount code off all your squeegees and all your inks, then you can tell him I sent you his way. Absolutely superb little piece of equipment. A little bit more expensive than an analog one, but definitely worth it. Stick 4 little AA batteries in back of it, which don't come included. Dave should come included, but
So you would say it's better than analog?
yes.
You would? I mean, I don't know. I
Yeah.
ain't got a clue. I don't know the difference.
I would. The analog ones, you sort of like you play with them yourself with the dial around the outside, and you
tap it and
You have to
stuff.
reset to 0, and it goes round 3 times. It comes back. This is a pure digital thing that gives you a straight number, and you can't argue with that straight number. And it's a point something rather than you looking at. Well, it's somewhere between 15 and 20.
Yeah,
It's 16, 17. It's about 18 and a bit.
Yeah.
This gives you a dead-on number.
We'll have to
So
get
if you
one.
want to introduce this into your system, then your system for checking, you could write that 3-digit number down, 21.2, 21.6,
so
and then look at it later,
Yeah.
a month later, test the same screen and go, right, it's gone from 21.6 to 20.8. Now, on an analog, they'd both read 21.
right, I see. Do you know what?
So on a digital, you get a real number.
I would thoroughly recommend, and I'll have to give this shout out to Corey. I forgot what his job's called. You'll have to remind me.
Corey at Floodway?
Canada, yeah.
Yeah.
So he has a barcode system. So every time he pulls a screen, I'm sure. I think it's every time. I'm just guessing.
It's a
But
QR code. Now,
QR
right?
code,
It's awesome.
and he records the tension, which I think
Yeah.
I think that would be at the very least a brilliant exercise to do every now and again. But I would personally, if I had that at my disposal, which I probably will introduce at some point, I think I'll just do it as a standard. It only takes a few seconds to check your mention, and then just track it. And your barcode obviously sends it to Monday, and then you've got a list of all your frames. Oh, this one's this tension. Oh, it's falling below. Get a knife in it, get it remeshed. I think that's brilliant. I love that. That's one of
It's a great idea. I was at Alex over at Minnesota Ink, and I was in his screen room, which is so well organised.
I love to see that.
Tidy and organised and great. And I'm looking through all his mesh, and all his frames are labelled up, and then on each frame there's this number. And it was only until about 4 weeks later that I realised what the number was. Because there was an 18, a 22, a 19, 20, 21, 19, 18, 22. I'm like, what's that number? It can't relate to mesh count.
No.
It can't relate to the number of times he's changed it because they're all pretty much the same. What's that number? And it only took me until I'm sort of like sat on the plane going, it's tension. Jesus. How can I not? Should have asked him.
Right. So he just updates the tension.
So he just writes tension on the side of the screen, yeah.
So
that'll help him decide whether to make a 1-colour job or a 6.
Actually, that's another good point, yeah, because sometimes you've got screens that are a little bit low, and you think, but if it's just a single colour job, who cares? It doesn't matter too much.
So he writes the actual tension on each screen.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure he doesn't change them. He doesn't check them every time, but it's good to know.
No, it's a good practice,
That's
isn't
an 18, that.
Yeah.
Don't put your base white on an 8-colour job on that 18.
Yeah.
Use that 22 there.
And then the other thing as well is you want to match your tensions. You want screens with a similar tension range. I don't know what that range would be. 5 or 6, I guess. 5 or 6 difference somewhere in between.
Probably, yeah.
And that'll help your registration if you're having any issues.
So I spoke to Chris at Screen Machine, Chris Hale, and I said to him, how much do I expect to lose when I get
over time?
Will it go from the 26, 27 that you stretched it at to 14 if I just leave it on its own for 6 months? And he said no. However, a factor I'd never thought of until he mentioned it, so big shout out to him for bringing it up.
Heat?
The cheaper the frame.
Right.
So frames are made from a certain thickness of aluminium. The frames are made from a certain thickness of aluminium. And he only uses 2 mil thick aluminium, which makes his screens a little bit heavier, a little bit more expensive. Now, the cheaper, lighter frames are made from 1.6 mil aluminium box section.
Yeah, I don't like them.
So what he says is that will allow the screen to bow a little. And as it bows, it eats your tension.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it's so obvious when you say it out loud, but
Yeah.
I never thought of the quality of the frame affecting the screen tension.
I
thought maybe the glue would slip. And
yeah.
if you have cheap mesh, maybe that will stretch or shrink.
I've always, I didn't know that was the reason why, but I have avoided cheaper frames. I like the thicker, heavier, boxy frames. Because just by experience, they've just always held better tension. They've just felt like better quality frames.
Got squeegee stuck in your head.
So anyway, things have obviously turned into a screen machine love fest. Best screens I've ever had. I wish I'd have discovered. He don't
even have a website.
No,
I don't think he even has a website.
No, so he really relies on word of mouth because you'll never find him.
Genuinely, one of the nicest guys in the industry.
I mean, I've only had the pleasure of dealing with him twice, but what a guy. What a guy.
He is, yeah.
So let's talk about the numbers. Some of it might be quite basic. So what does that one mean, Tony?
Got my glasses on. Flipping sweet print.
I'll catch you out. But you didn't fall for it, Tony, lad. Right. It's only really, I mean, obviously, first things first. Look at that.
He puts it on all 4 sides. First things first.
Puts it on all 4 sides? What do you mean? All 4 sides?
Where's he writing the number?
Hang on,
Where's the...
Think of time. Let's talk about this fantastic revelation.
No tape.
No tape. There's no excuse.
No tape.
No tape. Get this bad boy on your screens. Just ask for it to be done, and he'll do it. 40 mil, I think it is, and I have an 18-inch quarter. Perfect. I will say there is literally one downside. It splashes a bit, but we're not made of sugar. We don't dissolve. We don't dissolve. Get over it.
when you jet wash it.
Yeah.
It does bounce back a little bit. Have you got silicone running around the inside as well? No?
Yeah, well, I haven't done that yet. I haven't done that, but maybe I will. In fact, I will. I will try.
Let me have a look. Have you got the silicone on the inside? Looks like you have then.
Nah, I think it's just There's nothing
Just
there.
glue
There's
residue.
no, like,
Just glue residue.
yeah.
Okay. So you can ask him to run silicone around the outside for a better seal.
This isn't a clean screen, by the way. It's only had a motion strip. Before anybody starts judging me, I can see you. So obviously, it's put its date on for us, which is a good.
Yeah. So you know when it's been made, so you know how old it is.
Is it irrelevant? If you've got a tension meter, it's irrelevant because forget the date.
No,
just check the tension.
No, it's not.
No.
You need to know that if it's dropping quickly within 6 months or so, you're doing something wrong in your process. Too much heat, too much
heat,
pressure,
yeah.
too much something. If you pick up a screen up that's been stretched for 3 years and it's still pulling 20 newtons, you're not doing something right.
Yeah, so
I think it's really important.
That could be the beauty of having some sort of tracker, a barcode tracker of some sort. Because if you are running into problems, you're like, hang on, that screen's lost tension in like 3 weeks. So next one is, I actually don't know what that is.
Screen Machine.
Oh, Screen Machine. Ah, you see.
Screen Machine Supply Company, SMSC.
And then, do you know what? He doesn't sponsor us. He's not asked us to. We're just. Let's.
Didn't even know we do this.
He does actually. I told him in last email. But let's leave his contact details on the description. Because
yeah, absolutely.
Honestly, best screens I've ever had. So anyway, this is obviously the most.
I can hear it when you tap it. I can hear it when you tap it.
It's like a drum,
and that's a 43.
It is. So we've got two numbers here. Some people might not be aware. We've got 43, which is obviously the mesh. 43T.
What about the mesh? What's the 43 mean? What are the 43 of?
The holes.
No.
Yeah, so your cross section.
No.
Well, then you better explain this in more scientific terms.
There are 43 threads
per inch,
per centimetre in the Europe and UK. So every centimetre, there are 43 linear, straight up and down threads. Forget about the ones going that way because they're exactly the same.
Wow.
So we count the ones going straight up and down. There are 43 strands of thread fit inside the same 1 centimetre.
I did not know that. I just assumed. Anyway, I didn't know that. So then we've got 80, which I understand to be the thickness of the thread. Am I wrong again?
Oh, Danny. Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. I'm taking piss. Yes, that is the thread thickness in microns.
Right.
So when we start talking about thin thread, it's that number there of how many. How thick that thread is. So I can still keep with 43 in the same centimetre, but I can make each one of them 40 microns.
Yeah.
So half the size.
Yeah.
Which means my holes are
bigger.
I can't count the holes, but I have more open area. There is a ratio you work out, threads per thickness per square centimetre, but you basically have more open area. Remember, we're shoving through the holes, not through the mesh.
True. Right. Quick swig.
That was a great advert for Chris at Screen Machine, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was all for free. So you want a fun fact, Tony? You got a fun fact?
Oh my God, these scare me. You know, these scare me.
This one's quite PG. This is quite PG. This one.
I've no idea where you go.
Would you like to know where the first ever promo T-shirt came from?
I feel like I know this.
You might do. It was top of Google, so quite easy to find.
I haven't Googled it, but I want to say it's for a music concert.
No, not a million mile away.
Okay.
Do you want to know, or do you want to have a guess?
I've got Andy Warhol in my head, but it's not that. So I think it must be. It's got to be some sort of event or music related.
Well, that narrows it down, doesn't it? It was for the premiere of the Wizard of Oz film, and they gave away T-shirts, and that was the first ever promo T-shirt.
I didn't know that.
There you go.
You're full of useless information.
You never know. That might come up in pub quiz one day.
Do you know what? You're so full of useless information. I think you might make a good consultant.
Hey, and I've been printing for at least 3 years as well, so I've got that.
So yeah, you qualify. Yeah, and you've got a cruiser. I know you.
No, I have. Hey, do you know? You keep saying I've got four colour as well. It's a six palettes.
Colour, yeah.
Don't do me like that. cut deep. Hey, I'll tell you something else as well. I had another ghost, you know. There's another ghost. Remember I told you the story about the...
Quoting and then leaving,
Put 1 million minutes worth of effort into quoting and sourcing garments and all the effort, etc. And then fucked off because we asked someone else if they could do it cheaper. Someone did the exact same to me.
Again?
Yeah, so they said to me...
too expensive.
Well, this is where the paranoia comes in. But I've actually got proof on it. Well, I asked them. So basically, in a nutshell, they said, can we have 10 long sleeve premium t-shirts? And I, of course, said, no, you can have 20. So they said, all right, can we have a quote for 20 and can we have a quote for 50? So this is where my sales skills came in because I took them from 10 to 50. I sent them.
Well, no, this is where your sales skills are obvious. You didn't get the order.
I'm halfway there. So basically, I sent them a quote and they really specifically asked for really good quality long sleeve t-shirts because these were for a band that they were going to give to, I don't know, contacts in the industry as a bit of a marketing for the new band's launch or whatever.
Instead of a business card, sort of thing.
Yeah, so they wanted it to be real impressive premium quality. So, of course, I obliged, like that T-shirt. So I obliged. And again, having learned from last week when I had the ghoster, I put a disclaimer, I said, I've quoted you for these garments, they're super premium, but we've got access to hundreds of garments, and if the price isn't right or if you want a different style or whatever, just come back to me and we'll change it for you. Buggered up. Within seconds, got my quote, an email back says, oh no, we've got a quote cheaper, we're going to go use them, thanks. Like, within a minute of me sending it. So...
Did you find out who they went with?
Yeah. So I asked them, I said, that can't... So I just politely said, that can't be the same garment. And they said, no, they're on Gildan's. So they told me, they've got me to do this quote and they've purposely asked for. But instead of saying, oh no, those garments are too expensive, can you just give us a cheaper one? I mean, so I sent them another, because I said, well...
On Gildan's, I'd do it at this.
Yeah. And anyway, I've not heard from them since. They'll probably already give green light to other conglomerate.
What would you do if you found out who it was?
I would like to know. I think I know who it is.
Somebody you knew.
No, I think I know who it was, because they sent me a link to the garment, which I assume was a company. It was a big cheap company. It was a company that probably gets big, thick plastisol that's been, they chuck it on the screen and they rush them out super quick. There's no real care and attention and quality. Do you know what I mean? It's a
I know
volume,
what you mean. I'm trying to work out who it is.
Volume over quality. Promotional products. It's not.
Do you know where they are?
No. I think the company's called something like promotional, and they'll do pens and badges and etc. etc. It's not the one you're thinking from of Leeds. It's not that one. It's much more. It's a more corporate identity. It's like,
if it was that one, I would have named them.
Yeah, well, are they even still going after the old debacle?
Absolutely.
Oh, so they're back on his feet.
Yeah, as normal, as if nothing happened. They just think everything's awesome now.
Karma, eh?
Karma. It'll come.
Speaking of karma, do you believe in karma?
Yes.
Do you?
Yes,
well, I do.
She's a horrible person.
I think she's a bitch, isn't she? Remember when I expressed my disgruntlement at Bella Canvas Garments?
Yeah.
Got an order for 500 at fuckers, hadn't I? Serve me right, won't it?
Careful what you wish for.
And not only that, it's left sleeve, right sleeve, front, back, neck label. Really good to tell.
That's a good order.
It's a beautiful order, but it's not a beautiful garment.
No, but if you make it good, you'll be able to buy an auto pack of that.
Not quite.
There are some cheap ones around at the minute.
Have there?
We've got a certain mutual friend that keeps finding cheap ones.
Oh, she's a right bargain on, isn't she? Old Bruce Dickinson. Dear.
Irish Bruce.
So you're at this place one more day, and then what's your plans? Is you straight to
One
Germany?
more day, and then next week is Stuttgart. Yeah. I don't think I've told you the back. I'm not sure I should.
Oh, you have the
I've got to
concert.
be careful, you know. I've got to be careful how. No, that's a different one. I've got to be careful.
Another dilemma.
What we say about places I am or I'm going to, because more of them are listening. So I explained my whole podcast thing last night to this place where I am, and he's like, "Oh, I'm definitely going to catch up on that." Oh, well, I've gone and you've got me invoice.
Yeah, but you remember when we first started this podcast and we'd finish an episode and then we'd say to each other, "Oh, maybe we shouldn't have said this or whatever." And it was like, "No, uncensored. Just say whatever's on your mind. Cut the bullshit." Because we don't go out of this way to put anybody down. We never do. But we give
Although
unbiased.
it does sound like we got sponsored by Screen Machine and Dave Roper this week.
No, but
it does sound like that. But
it's the nobody is above praise. Nobody is below praise and above criticism, and will be unbiased and give objective opinions when needed. That's all.
Yeah, and we do. Yeah, that's the beauty of it, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's why we don't take sponsorship, because then we can.
Nobody will pay us, because when we drop a bollock, we'll slag it off.
There's only 4 of us listening. Yeah, so and I'm sort of conscious that, oh Christ. Anyway, so I'm going to Stuttgart next week on behalf of the machine manufacturer.
Right.
I'm going to run their press. And we had a plan, and we've had some meetings, and we've had some discussions, and we've done teams, and we've done emails forwards and backwards, so that we don't look stupid when we get there, and we know what we're going to do, and we're all going to go for a certain product, which was a digital product, and everything was based around it being this digital product, and it was going to be a task, it was going to be a challenge, but we were going to make it work. And then 3 days ago, it all changed.
Uh-oh.
The whole thing changed. We're now going to go, we're not going to take the digital, we're going to go analog.
Oh.
And we have a very, very limited number of colours. I only have a 5 colour press to play with.
Really? That's not very standard at all, is it?
At all, no. This is a
Can you even buy a 5 colour?
Sort of, no. It's a 6 colour with 1 removed. So it has. I have tried to change that. It's not possible at this level. Bear in mind, the show's next week.
Yeah.
I can't just magic a press out my ass.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. And so certain things are set in motion. Certain things have been set in motion for a long time. You know, there's transport, there's booking, there's space, there's all sorts of things. So at the end of the day, I have to put up or show up. I have to make do with what we've got. Try and make a silk purse from this pig's ear. And who did I get to pull me out of the shit? Our mate John.
Oh, you all right? So you've done some artwork then?
So I'm like, well, I don't know what to do now, because we had this plan, we had all this artwork, we had all the screens, we had all the set, we had all the process done, and it just suddenly changed, because this is the real world. Things do change. Machines break. Machines don't turn up in time. Things don't happen when they should. Like you said earlier, it's not about the problem, it's how you react to the problem.
Yeah.
So now we're in a hole, we've got to get out of it. And the first person I asked was, John, is there any chance you can help me out with this? Boom. Absolutely no hesitation whatsoever. Help me out. I pestered him for nearly a day and a half. Will this work? No, Tony, don't be silly. Will this work? Well, it would, but you'd be really pushed.
Yeah.
What about this? That might work. We might be able to make that work. So forwards and backwards through emails, forwards and backwards through WhatsApp, we finally got to something that's a compromise, which, by the way, is going to push all my technical ability in front of everybody on a show. I am not happy.
I know this is turned into.
I like to go for an easy life. I like to turn up, print a 6-colour job that we've printed somewhere else before. We've mixed all the colours before. We've done a dry run and everything's great. I'm going to turn up to this show with this job that may bite me in the arse.
Well, it's turned into a machine showcase to a Tony showcase.
Yeah, but the whole point is that nobody can know that.
Yeah.
It's got to be like
effortless.
The Swan.
Yeah.
The Swan, that's all like, gracefully gliding at the top in the main. Like, underneath, Tony's going,
Flapping.
What's this? Where's this? Give me a squeegee. Give me this. Did nobody bring tape? What? So, it will be a fun one. I'm glad you're not coming to this one.
Yeah.
So I've got a little bit of time.
So is there anything? So this artwork that you're having to do on 5 colours? Is there some sort of trickery involved in making it work? Is it just a CMYK with a white base, or is it a sim process?
It's CMYK with a white base. You'll have to ask me next week. You know my feelings on this.
I know. Well,
doing it.
I remember.
You know how I think it doesn't work.
And can I ask you, are you using a particular type of ink for a white base? I feel like I might have a inclination.
No, I have to use Aviant.
Or to showcase Aviant as well. Is that part of the deal?
Yeah. So I have to use Plastisol. It's very tricky at an exhibition with water-based inks. They want another composition of everything for the dispersal. You can't use discharge.
Nah.
It's just too smelly and too.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Water-based inks, you can use water-based inks, but they give off a little bit more smoke than normal.
Yeah.
And there's the whole clean-up thing. Where do you clean them up?
Plus,
in the middle of an exhibition hall, you're basically washing screens in the sink, and we know how amateur washing screens in the sink is.
It's a ticking time bomb as well, isn't it? You've got ink in a screen.
It is, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Plus, you're going to have people asking you questions whilst you're doing it. It's like it's a recipe for disaster.
So water-based wasn't going to happen.
So can I ask you a question?
So yeah,
if I turn up to Germany, whatever it's
Vespa,
sorry, and let's just say, just pulling a water-based manufacturer out of a hat, just random. Ooh, Magna. Let's just say they've got a stand. What are the chances of them actually doing like a live printing demonstration with Magna ink? Would they be there printing at the time, do you think?
The only reason they would be there is to print. So
they would be doing it.
I've done about 4 of those. First one I did a 6-colour job with Aquaflex V2 white. The colours on top, it was the green M.
Oh, yeah. It was like floral.
Yeah,
foliage.
Like floral green, superb artwork, nice and simple, all sort of 90s with a 62 base. And that was my first experience of how stable is this ink in a screen in a hot environment where I can't keep it running and I have to basically avoid it blocking in.
Yeah.
And so I particularly remember that job, Aquaflex V2, got it all set up. It ran a dream. It was lovely. Nice and slow, nice and steady, no panic. And then about 2 hours into running it, a friend of mine says, Tony, have you got 2 minutes? So I'm sort of running this job here. I want you to meet somebody. Can you come and talk to him? Well, yeah, I've probably got about 10 minutes with this ink.
Yeah. Maybe
10 minutes with it flooded. He says, come on then. And so I'm starting to talk to this guy. Just over here. I start walking away from the press. I'm looking like that. Okay, I've left some ink in that screen. I've left it flooded. I don't know how long I've got. I've got maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah.
90s.
Oh, dear.
So I'm thinking, yeah. So we're walking. I'm walking for about 5 minutes. Where's this guy? He's in the other hall. The other hall? I can't go to the other hall. I've got ink in the screens up there. It'll be fine. No. I can't. Honestly, I'm now 5 minutes away from the press. I think, well, it'll take me 5 minutes to walk back, or maybe another 5 minutes to this hall. I'll go to this hall. I'm gone 45 minutes.
Wow.
45 minutes, Aquaflex, 90s, white, base. I'm like, when I get back, this fucking job is ruined.
You're going to tell me it was fine. Just pulled it a few times, didn't you?
Twice. Just printed it out twice and it worked perfectly. We're at that point then I had my aha moment. Like, if this works in this environment where it's shitty hot, there's loads of people around, and I've left it for 45 minutes while some knob talks to me.
Some dignitary. Billy Big Bollocks.
And that's when I thought, this magnet product, actually, it's all right if it stays. It didn't stay open in the screen. I got back.
No, but it was recoverable.
And I thought, oh, God. So I took another print and it cleared. There's no way it re-wet straight after 2 prints, and it did.
Yeah.
So I was really impressed with it. Again, we're not sponsored by Mag.
Nope. Again, nobody is above praise and below criticism. Or have I done that wrong way around?
I think you should have that tattooed somewhere.
I'll be fucking forward so I can remember it every time I pull it out. Oh dear. So, John's pulled you out at shit. You've got some nice fancy artwork to do. A little bit tricky, but you'll make it work.
Well,
this is why
we'll
people pay you
week.
the big bucks.
Next week, don't mention that. Fucking every time somebody says that, I fail. I fall flat on my face.
Touch wood, quick.
So, I think I fly out on Wednesday, and the show is Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
All right.
So by the time we do the next podcast, I won't know whether it's failed or not.
Oh, so you'll have to tune into episode 29 to find out how it went.
If I ring you 39, if I ring you on Friday night to jump on an aeroplane with some Aquaflex V2 and some CMYK inks, then you might feature in next week's show.
All right, I'm here for it. So is this because there's another show going on in America now as well, isn't there? There's something going on now at
Atlantic City.
Yeah,
so it's Atlantic
like
City.
ISS2.
So you remember you remember Long Beach?
Yeah. World's longest
That's the
beach.
Impressions show.
Not even that long.
It's the world's longest beach.
So that was Impressions.
That really made Teresa laugh.
She chuckled, didn't she?
So ISS is an organisation like FESPA. So Impressions sportswear shows.
Yeah.
So they're an
So
organisation.
it's not one individual show, it's like...
No, so they do, I think, maybe 6 across the US in a year. So Atlantic City is one on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Long Beach is one on the West Coast. I think they're doing one in Las Vegas, which, again, everyone wants to go to.
Get sent to that one.
And then they do another one as well. So they'll do certain shows around. And they tend to be the largest. Then there are DAX shows, decorated apparel exhibition or something. I don't know, I made that bill. But they're more like tabletop shows.
Right.
So people tend not to take a machine, but they have a stand of like a tabletop.
Shitload of leaflets and...
They do. Shitload of leaflets and maybe a small DTG or DTF machine. And then there's Printing United, which was I'm sure it was the joining of 2 different departments, 2 different show companies, and that tends to be fucking huge.
Oh wow! What, bigger than Long Beach?
One of those, I think it was 4 times.
Wow!
So I did the last Printing United. I set up all the show. Everything's ready, and I've got like a couple of hours before anything starts. So I'll go walk the show and find out what everything else is doing. I think it was gone about 45 minutes just walking the show. That's me walking fast, walking around every booth, just having a quick sneak. This place had everything from packaging machinery to pen printing to T-shirt printing to everything else in between. So Printing United, everything under one roof.
You know, it's a bit like the IKEA of print shows.
A bit like the IKEA of print shows. Yeah. So yeah, that was probably the biggest one.
So how does FESPA compare to Long Beach?
FESPA is probably 3 times bigger than Long Beach.
Oh wow!
And probably half as big as the Printing United.
Wow! So I've chose a good one. I say chose. I've been forced to do a good one.
Yeah, I have to make sure you're there.
I'm gonna go. So before we started this episode, I put a story up. See if anybody had any burning questions. Oh, we've got one. Burning question. You ready?
Go on.
This is from Teresa, funnily enough. So I'm glad somebody contributed.
Magna.
Yeah, so I'm glad somebody contributed. She says, would you rather be able to speak every language in the world or be able to speak to animals? That's really random.
That is your level.
It is, isn't it? I could really relate to that.
She's tuned into your level, definitely.
So she has been watching.
Answer that question. Yeah, that is definitely your level. Well done, Teresa. You judged everything perfectly. So, what's your answer?
Well, I'm far more likely to benefit from speaking to animals, considering I bump into animals all the time, than I do bump into different nationalities of people. All right, I might see the odd every now and I mean, I live in a very out of the way town, so the chances of bumping into somebody who speaks a different language is quite slim. But I bump into squirrels and pigeons and seagulls all the time.
We're going to say,
nice to talk to them.
Do you bump into all the time?
Just seagulls. And I say bump into, I mean get dive bombed for my chips, but so I can give them a stern warning.
Those chips.
Actually, that would be really quite helpful. Actually, like if I could talk to seagulls and just be like, "Look, just pack it in now, all right? I've had enough. Try to eat my chips in peace."
For a bit. I think after that answer, we should stop drinking during the show.
Well, I want to know what your answer is.
Animals, no hesitation whatsoever.
Oh, you'd love to talk to Jack, wouldn't you? That's very sentimental.
Well, I'd have. You know why I'd want to talk to him?
Tell him to shut the
I'd
fuck
have to
up.
bargain with him to keep his mouth shut. Yeah. Right, we have to understand something. You don't speak to anybody. No, I would. Yeah, it would be for me to be animals. So yeah.
Jack's probably heard more of our pre-press record conversations. That's dangerous. If Jack ever gets the ability to talk, we are fucked.
We're screwed. Yeah, we're screwed.
Drop. Right, what do you feel? How you?
It did feature in images though. I don't think you saw
last
it.
week. Was that the very last one?
It was the print shop pooch. You can know that the print shop.
notice.
It was a print shop.
Well,
pooch.
let's be honest. None of the dogs featured in any episode actually even go to print shops. Probably brought them in for the sake of taking a picture and then putting it in a magazine.
No, I go to loads and they're all there.
Really?
Yeah, they're all there.
Oh, I take it back.
I see them all the time. They're the only reason I go to some print shops.
Well, hands up. I take it back. How are you doing for time, Tony, lad?
Right. I think we've prattled on long enough.
We've had a good chin wag, haven't we? It's quite handy, actually, because I've got loads of notes I can leave for next week.
I'm going to say we've been completely unstructured. I actually had notes as well. But mine will keep.
Is there anything at all that stands out that you think we could squeeze that in? Or are you happy to save it? You don't have to.
One.
That wasn't a...
No, I've got one. And I thought I'd seen the end of this. And I'll do a little mime for you. And see if you can guess what it is.
Push print.
No.
Go on then.
We don't got that. No. So we'll do a little mime. Okay, we're stood at the press. We go down here, we bend down here, we pick something up underneath it, and we go.
No way! Well, you just did that. You did that. Didn't you get found out for grabbing a squeegee?
I got a kicking for grabbing the squeegee and getting a little bit of ink on my hand. This is a. Would you like some Neapolitan ice cream?
Who the hell was that?
Did I just see that right?
Please tell me it was water based.
Because no, that's not.
What?
And I've seen this before, but not here. And out of the 6 operators, only one does it, and it's the most experienced.
So do you know back in?
And I'm like, did you just? He went, what? It's just easier. There's literally a scraper there by your foot. Yeah, I use that to turn the ink over. No. It's all right. That's what gloves are for.
You know, back in the day, if you're a bit of a bruiser, a bit of a scrapper, if you like shirt off, about a little scrap on gobbles, you used to put your hands in diesel and petrol and stuff like that. It toughened them up, made your skin dead dry and hard and rock hard. It toughened them up. He'll have the same type of hands in. Because if he's using plastisol in his hands...
I want to know whether you know that or somebody's told you that.
No, I've got a rough family. But I am a gentle, delicate flower. But my family on the hand are not. But anyway, the point is, the amount of chemical crap he uses in his hands. Jeez.
No, glove on.
Oh, you had a glove?
Glove on.
Right.
Pop, glove off, in the bin. With,
what do you know? You didn't save a glove bit.
250 grams of ink on the glove.
Yeah, well, you didn't save a glove bit. That changes things.
In the bin.
In a way, that's just time saving,
in the bin.
isn't it?
No,
it's not good for a dolphin.
No. No, dolphins and turtles, no.
They're not going to be chuffed about it, are they? But,
And our coconut thing's doing well as well, isn't it?
Coconut thing. What, just the post in general? People are impressed by it.
Yeah.
People are enjoying our tips.
Yeah.
So
We're doing well.
we'll have to keep them up.
Yeah, even your squeegee thing today. You posted your squeegee thing when I stood outside against a brick wall, shouting with squeegee against a brick wall.
Well, what tip did we pull out today? I'm trying to think.
Squeegee. Rounding a squeegee.
No, I mean through this episode. Because I tend to think back to the episode we've just done and think, oh yeah, we came up with this tip. I'm trying to think, what have we come up with today? We might not have done. Apart from dip your hands in diesel if you're about to have a scrap.
And don't tell your dog your any secrets. I don't think we've got any.
I'll have a think.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll pop out to you.
Someone will jump at me. Right, Turney lad. Is it time to sign off? Because I really need a wee now.
It's time to sign off because I need to go and get some tea, something to eat. So I think we've had a good old chinwag. We've probably done a couple of hours. So,
Hour 40. Not been a bad one.
Hour 40. We've done all right. I was looking back through some of the old episode numbers. I know you don't like doing it. Our most successful episode were our longest episode.
Oh, it was? Oh, that's annoying,
Yeah.
isn't it?
So it is, yeah, because I don't want to do that for 3 hours every time.
I wonder if there was something particular about that episode or if it's purely down to duration.
It was 3 hours, yeah. So anyway, on that bombshell, we will sign off. It has been a pleasure. If you like what you hear, if you like what you see, go seek medical help.
How dare you?
Yeah, before that, at least before you get committed, send us a comment, leave a like, leave a subscribe, tell your friends. We are gaining traction. There are quite a few people across the pond.
Very global.
Now
global.
Getting involved in the north of England Chippy Tea. I think it's because it comes with subtitles, so it should be all right. So yeah, leave us a chat, leave us a comment, leave us a like or a subscribe. Tell everybody you know, and you have been listening to me, Tony P from Palm Print, and
Danny D from Flipping Sweet Print Co. Thanks for tuning in and just being part of this global movement we are putting together.
Global
movement.
Nice.
Not just off at Dome out.
So,
Came up to me just and then.
Off at Dome. So yeah, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and as always, I'll see you then.
See you in a bit. Ta-da. You got a can. Do a cheers.
Cheers.
Goodbye.
It's Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy Tea.